I really enjoyed Simon Sinek's TED Talk on how great leaders inspire action. It resonated with me both as an educator and as a coach. By the way, I consider them both to be mutual components in developing and supporting young people. I'll explain later in this journal entry what I mean. I had never heard of the term golden circle. The term was new to me, but the concept is something that I have seen in some of the most inspirational people in my life. The golden circle is made up of three rings. Sinek describes the rings that comprise the circle as the outer ring containing the what, the middle circle containing the how, and the most inside circle containing the why. The examples of successful businesses, innovators, and leaders Sinek gave include Apple, the Wright brothers, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What did these three examples have in common? They all begin with the why as opposed to the what. People were inspired to follow Dr. King because his why resonated and inspired people to follow him. People believed what he believed. People want to work with the Wright brothers because they believed in what the Wright brothers believed. Apple is a great example itself. They marketed from the inside out of the circle. People will buy your what when they are inspired by your why. Most companies operate from the outside in. Now let me share a personal story of a leader of young men in my life. I remember my 9th grade year trying out for the JV football team at Vallejo High School. The head coach knew my family and invited me to the school for tryouts. I remember working out with the team and doing well. However, I became somewhat fearful of the head coach after watching him engage with the other players who were veterans on the team. He was a stern disciplinarian. One day he stopped in the middle of practice and began to yell at me about something that I had been coached to do but still messed up. I remember thinking to myself that once I left this practice, I was not going to return. After practice, the head coach directed me to stay and walked me into an area of the football field. We talked about football just a little bit. Mostly we talked about movies, family, and other things that I found interesting. He told me he wanted my advice about something that he was planning for his son. What was inspiring to me was our conversation. He was giving me mentorship, something that most young men like me needed. When I think of my junior varsity team, what I remember most is about how each of my teammates gravitated towards our coach. He was still tough and no nonsense, but we trusted and believed in him. Off the field, he became that male role model for many of us. As I reflect on that experience, I came to understand my coach's why was to mentor and develop young men. He wanted to develop us into young men of integrity and character. He wanted to give us the tools to be successful in life. Being a coach was just what he did, and through football is how he did it. His why resonates with me to this day. And while he was not my first football coach, this coach became one of my most inspirational mentors and one of the reasons I became a coach and an educator. We stay in contact to this day. Now, I look forward to listening to Simon Sinek speak again as he was able to conceptualize for me the difference between leaders and people that lead, the difference between positional leadership and leaders who inspire people to follow. Leadership that inspires is sustainable and stands the test of time. My name is Phillip Shelley, and this is my journal entry for EDOL 721. Thank you.